Good morning, guys. So today I want to talk about the not so art of photography. I got up today and I started watching f-stoppers, and the topic was, is photography dead? Well, I don't think so. I think we have kind of two things that are happening. We've got this huge polarization of Instagrammers who are using their iPhones, and you can kind of edit on the fly and you can upload on the fly and it's instant, and that's fantastic. And then you've got on the other side, you've got the photographer who knows how to work the camera, knows how to work it in manual mode, is into the composition, the lighting, etc., etc. And they're two kind of different spaces, and I think we're converging on this idea of having everything in your pocket, which is great, and I love it, but at the same time you're seeing camera sales that are going down the toilet. You're seeing the iPhone, which is now the largest camera, it's the most used camera in existence today. Is honestly, it's the iPhone, and maybe Samsung. But I guess the big question is, as I've been doing this for the last 10, 15 years, you've seen some changes, and I don't know that people really want photographers as much as they used to, where everybody takes their own photo, they make their own websites, which is an entirely different rabbit hole. In other words, you don't hire a BMW mechanic unless you need one, right? So there are people who have skills, and then there are people who think they have skills, and that's where the two kind of derail. So I guess my big question is, does the photographer still have a place in the market? Or are we all just taking our own headshots now with our iPhone? How important is it to you to have a photographer come out who knows what they're doing, take a photo so that you shine? And that's where I think, once I started kind of going through this rabbit hole today, watching Tony and Chelsea on their channel, talking about, is wedding photography dead? Is landscape photography dead? Is the headshot dead? When you do a headshot, it's not just taking a photo. You're bringing engagement to that person. Most of the time when I take a headshot of somebody, they're really uncomfortable. Actors especially, despite the fact that they're in front of the camera, they are almost the hardest because they don't know what to do. They don't have a script in their hand, and they literally just sit there. And you have to kind of coerce, pulling these people out and onto your camera and really making them shine. And Peter Hurley does a fantastic job of doing that. My good friend Levi Morris-Shan does a fantastic job of doing that. And it's really an art to bring that smile and the picture all together in a composure that looks really, really well done. Can you do that on the iPhone? I don't think you can. Do you get great photos on it? Absolutely. It's a phenomenal device. But then it brings the question, do you shoot your own photography at a wedding with your iPhone? I mean, is that where we're at? What are your thoughts on that? Leave me your thoughts down below. Yeah, do you go out and do you shoot your graduation? I mean, who's shooting anymore that is there any value in it? I mean, what's the value left in hiring a photographer? I mean, are you an advertising firm where you just say, oh, screw it, we're just gonna, shoot with the iPhone 11? I mean, is that what you're gonna do? And then there's the question of, what is photography? Because now we're blending it into, it's almost like we're blending it into Lightroom, Photoshop, where we're manipulating the photos so much that it's not really it's not even photography anymore. It's really starting to head into an art of manipulating the photography, which that's always been done. I mean, you go back, dodging and burning, that stuff's all been done, way back, even, developing film. So I get that. But I guess the big question is, what value does photography have anymore in mainstream? You know, you've got Instagrammers. I just watched Tony and Chelsea talking about how Instagrammers make it look like they're not taking these photos, but yet they're staging the crud out of these photos once they get to where they're going with their, you know, their backpack, so they can, you know, brand out and, you know, sell, you know, whatever it is that they're selling on the high edge of a mountain cliff, you know, to their followers. I still think that there's an art to photography. I think you either really have an eye for it, and that's going to offend somebody, and frankly, I don't care. I mean, some people really have a good eye for this stuff. The cameras now are getting so good. It's like going on a tropical vacation. Like, you could almost point, like if you went to Fiji, you could almost point your camera, it doesn't matter what it is, in any direction, and you're probably going to get a great photo. But I think when you're shooting like brands and you're shooting lifestyle and you've got a model in front of you, or you've got an automobile and you have to light it, there's still an absolute art to pulling that off. And that's where I think, you know, even in the 70s, you had instant cameras like Kodak, which, you know, everybody used. It was kind of like the iPhone back then. Now, and you had the pros who were using the, you know, the Nikons and the Canons and the, you know, Konicas. And those people knew how to shoot manual. They knew how to shoot film. They knew what the shutter speed was. They knew what the ISO was. And they could produce a great image. And I think we're kind of going back to that same thing, where the professionals are still going to be professionals, and then you're still going to have people who are still using the Kodak Insta cameras that, you know, are basically equivalent to today's iPhone. So anyway, leave your comments and thoughts down below and let me know what you think about the current state of photography. Are you a wedding photographer? Are you seeing sales go down? Are you a headshot photographer? Are people doing their own? I mean, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit, as a lot of you know, and a lot of people, they just have kind of, I mean, I hate to say it, their headshots are kind of like, they just took it, and some of them people look orange, and I think to myself, you know, this is the product that you're selling. Your head goes everywhere, on everything, on every platform of social media. I would want mine to look really professional and polished. Maybe some people don't, and that's an entirely different conversation. But anyway, tell me what your thoughts are below. I'd love to hear them. And personally, I don't think the art of photography is dead. I think it's alive and well and kicking. But that's subjective. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful week. If you have a comment or question, leave it below. Peace out.